Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate, all my feelings. Good evening to you, sir.
Hey, buddy. It sounds like you were you had your mouth on the microphone there for a second.
No, that comes a little bit later. No, what is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is a weekly movie podcast where we ask you, the audience.
It's ruined again.
No, shut the fuck up. Where we ask you to go and watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we break it down, geek on it, and shoot the shit on it, and enjoy ourselves while doing this. Today we continue our November political month with a fantastic, in my opinion, fantastic movie.
Great movie. It is
on the, let's say, the media side of the political aspect. We talked about this last week. Wag the Dog, a movie that a lot of people have forgotten. I literally did a simple YouTube search, not a Google search, simple YouTube search about how many people have made content about Wag the Dog. Could you guess how many videos I have found that people who either reviewed the movie, did any sort of content on the movie? Could you guess? Just take number.
Just say over under. I would say under 50 total.
You would be correct, but it is 2.
Wow. Damn.
2.
What's funny too is Dustin Hoffman actually was nominated for an Academy Award for this movie.
Correct. We'll get into that soon. So we actually go and watch the show. I really enjoy this. I think last week I said that Barry Levinson did like all the movies. It definitely last week, definitely this week. I said Head of State was also Barry Levinson. That was incorrect. That was totally incorrect. That was a Chris Rock movie through and through, which is great because we'll get
he's fantastic in it too. Which you guys are gonna have fun with that next week.
Let's just concentrate on this week. We kind of scheduled a guest that comes from the media, but she's literally in the middle of moving a house as and she's got like shoddy internet and all that stuff, she might drop in, but at the moment, we'll just keep it.
We're going to go on with regularly scheduled programming.
Thank you. So,
yes,
Wag the Dog. I watched it a couple of times in the last 2 weeks. So I watched it once last week and once this week, just to make sure it's refreshed in my mind. I enjoyed it very much. Wasn't a problem watching it for the second time as well. So some of the movies I kind of forced myself. This one, it was a breeze. It's very short. I remember it to be like
it's
2 hours plus. It's an hour 40-ish.
No,
if you take out the
full runtime with credits is an hour and 37 minutes. If you take out credits, it's an hour and 29.
Let me
it's
see. It's really short. Yeah, hour 30. I again confused that with next week. Next week is an hour 47.
Yeah.
So this one is an hour 36. Everything, like that's my entire file.
Yeah, soup to nuts. So without credits, it's an hour and 29 minutes. Like just it's a very like it goes.
And that's the thing is it crams in a lot of these small scenes where you get a dump of information and processes that happened, and we're not going to get to all of them, but we'll definitely try. So to jump into everything, before we jump into everything, if you want to contribute to the show, if you want to add anything, you could just at me on Twitter. You DM me on Twitter. Easy. You can do that on Instagram as well, Meffistoe79. And you can always email the show at the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. Right? Anything you want, suggestions for movies, all the kit and caboodle. So without further ado, let's do our first segment of the night. It is called Behind the Screens.
Production take 2.
Behind the Screens is where we turn to all my feelings and we get the lowdown on everything that is going on behind the scenes of this movie.
All right. Go ahead, sir. I think one of the most interesting facts is De Niro and Hoffman made the film with no upfront salary.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Because they had worked with Barry Levinson before. This goes with a whole bunch of other things that are coming up with how rushed this production was.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool.
So it was actually only filmed in 28 days.
Interesting. Okay.
Because they had to fit it in between the schedules of David Mamet.
Okay.
Barry Levinson, because he was also working on Sphere at the time.
Yes. Okay.
And several of the actors.
I have read. Yes.
Several of the actors.
With Dustin Hoffman. Yeah.
Yeah. They all had to just interlocking moves throughout the entire production. Obviously, I love there are so many great spoofs in this film. I think by far the greatest has to be the American Dream being the giant mockery of We Are the World.
Oh,
I love it so much.
Which is weird because the guy who actually sang in We Are the World,
Willie Nelson is also in We Are the
it's supposed
the one who's conducting.
Yeah, he composed and made the song.
Yeah. Levinson, so we're going to get to some issues now.
Yeah, no problem.
One of the major issues Levinson had with the entire production, especially post-production, was given the writing credits. He wanted all of the writing credits to go to David Mamet, because originally Hilary Hankin had written the initial script. Barry brought in David Mamet to do rewrites. Barry was adamant that David Mamet did the majority of the work and nearly none of the original script remained. The Writers Guild of America disagreed with him, so much so that they insisted that Hilary Hankin can get credit on the film. She had to get credit. Barry Levinson nearly quit the Writers Guild of America over the issue.
And he was also in a bitter dispute with them for a very long time after that.
Yeah. Very, very long time. Okay, some more fun stuff.
Yes.
The face of the president, never shown, if you noticed.
Never shown. Yes. That's something that I totally forgot.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, you were right. You're totally right.
You only see the back of his head twice. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. That is it. I love the fact that they had an actor who's won multiple Academy Awards say that there is no Academy Award for producing. That's
That
factually incorrect.
that is factually incorrect.
Producers get Oscars for Best Picture.
Yes. That's something that, like, I back in the day when I watched this, I was like, it flew by. I was like, yeah, this guy's not getting any credit. And this time when I watched, like, but producers get the best Oscar for the best picture.
Picture of the
Yes.
year. Yeah. It's like the real big one.
Yeah, the actual big one.
So some other fun stuff. The 1-800 number at the end of the talk show is the only 1-800 number that is actually reserved in the United States, because it's a United States number, by every major telecom company as for usage by the media only. It also appears in multiple other films.
Oh. Yeah. It's 1-800
555, I think it's 1809.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
It appears in a lot of movies.
So the never change horse midstream was actually an idiom that was made popular by Abraham Lincoln during his campaign.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never change a horse midstream.
Never change a horse midstream.
And also never change a whore midstream, apparently, Beth.
Did I say whore?
Yes, you did.
Phrasing. Never change a whore midstream. Oh my God, no.
So again, on Rush production stuff.
Also, that is Levinson. By the way, that is actually correct. Factually correct.
Yes.
Continue.
Mamet and Levinson had to work on such a tight constraint in between their own schedules. They had to fax each other rewrite notes.
Oh, wow.
And they had to call each other late night after he was done filming part of Sphere. Levinson.
Jesus. Okay.
One other really fun thing, a good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. Is a quote from from Conrad Breen.
Yeah.
That's actually a quote from George Patton.
The George Patton?
Yes, the general. Yeah,
the general. Okay, cool. That's nice.
One last little fun notes.
You wouldn't think Barry Levinson would put that in a movie because he's very anti-war, if I remember correctly.
Yes, but see, given the fact that it's very apropos, given the
I know
of everything. So a lot of the other stuff is in between, but the other last fun note is just the financials. Obviously, only a $15 million budget.
That's pretty low,
but $64.3 million gross, and that's surprising because this is not what you would consider a very popular film.
Yeah, that's not. I remember it coming out. And I think we watched it, me and my buddy, kind of in one of the cinemas where you would watch like Pulp Fiction or some sort of an art movie. So it's like a limited release. I remember it being very limited release, not like in a big theater or something. And we enjoyed ourselves very much because we enjoyed all kinds of movies.
Yeah.
And is that's the end?
Yep.
Because I've got one more note. Do you know this movie was extremely prophetic? Do you know why?
Yes, I know we're gonna get into it because
I'll say it right now.
It's right before the Clinton scandal. It is literally a year before.
It is 7 months before the Monica Lewinsky Clinton debacle.
Yeah.
And about a year before when it really kicked in that troops were sent to various places around the world. And when the whole kind of, investigation was ensued before he got impeached. They bombed Yugoslavia as a peace relief for the Yugoslavian kind of civil war that they had over there.
Yeah.
Oh well. This is why I wanted our guest to
See,
be
my
here to
other
give
notes,
her 2 cents about that.
My other notes are actually like they're written in there about the Clinton scandal.
Oh.
I was going to talk about it as soon as we get into it.
You can develop it. If you've got notes, we can develop it later. Hold.
Yeah, it's you know me, I've got notes.
Yeah. I know. Okay, so situation is this. We are a few weeks before the election. 2 weeks, I think.
11 days. Exactly.
11 days. 11 days into the election. And we are faced with this situation. We've got 2 kind of assistants. We don't know who they are. They kind of talk, and what they're looking at is Conrad Breen. It's Robert De Niro's character, kind of been patted down before he goes into not the situation room. He goes into the bowels of the the White House. And the reason is the president was caught with an underage. I'm looking at you, Joe. An underage girl. It's like 15 or 14 years old.
Girl. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do we do now?
It was a play on the Girl Scouts. Was it the
yeah, it's like brownies or one of the
something like that.
It's like she was there doing the cookie run
with her whole. She was there for her whole. She was there with her whole troop.
Yeah. And kind of left behind, and there was impropriety. And now what do we do? We've got our own October surprise.
Yes. Well, what's funny too is throughout the entire film, the allegations are never confirmed or denied.
Yes.
They're already just automatically confirmed because that's what happens. And what's fair is that and had our guest had been on, she could get behind this. So like, yes, it's being represented by the media as an allegation, but the populace takes it as fact because it's being reported on.
Yeah, and we can discuss this from our point of view as we've seen this many, many times where the initial kind of allegation is the one that kind of sticks. It's been done today. It's been done with either the Me Too movement or on Twitter when there's a campaign to like cancel somebody.
That the same thing would happen again with Johnny Depp.
Exactly. It's like it's all relevant. It's not something that was, popped in with the invention of the internet. It was already back then. And remember, it could have gone like to the 1860s or whatever, right?
It just wouldn't have gotten out.
It wouldn't have gotten that fast. It's all about the speed of things that happen. And in this movie,
speed of media,
the speed of media in this movie is crucial because every time there's something that happens and it needs to be tweaked or fixed, immediately there's people on the phone, and we can discuss it a bit later. It's like they hand Stanley the phone. It's like, what do you want the guy to say? He's like on the podium in front of the media doing the press.
Oh yeah,
the Washington press room was like, what do you want him to say? Oh, say this. It's like, and he says it on the go. It's like on the go, and that kind of tells you the speed of things that happen.
And just a side note too, I think it's kind of crucial that a bit of a certain phone was released because it is utilized heavily throughout it, and it makes it seem more chic at the time and more rapid response. The StarTAC Motorola cell phone, the one that the black thing with the flip out, was released 3 months prior to filming of the movie. They got Motorola to give them phones in order to use in the film to make it seem as though they were cutting edge. They were bleeding edge at the time.
Yeah. My mom had an earlier model of that, the older version of that, the even brickier Motorola back in the day. So that kind of didn't surprise me because we were just going into the whole cellular age.
Where it's starting to become
like we've seen it a lot in X-Files. If you remember,
Very true. Yeah.
A lot of these shows didn't actually use cell phones as a thing, but X-Files did. And so
That's what's funny too, because in a lot of situations where, especially like, I know someone that I know who's a lot younger, who's watching like Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, that series. It's like, I don't get why they don't just call someone on their cell phone or text them. It's like, because they didn't
because
exist.
yeah, they existed, but they were not prevalent. They were not
Enough.
used.
They were not
They were not
ubiquitous.
used enough in the populace, so it wouldn't have been represented as a thing to sell. Because if it's on a show, they're selling the thing.
Also, you can't exactly beep somebody.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Because before this was all beepers. So
Conrad is taking Ames, the assistant, the Anne Heche, by the way, R.I.P. Anne Heche. He takes her to see somebody. Funny too, is
they have the full conversation before that too, because Breen sees they're trying to think of a way to get out of this, and they're talking about the B-3 bomber, like, but there is no B-3 bomber, isn't there? Isn't there?
Exactly. It's planting and information. Yeah. They're technically saying, well, we're going to plant information. They don't say it. They just show it. We're planting false narrative or false information, but we're saying it in a, don't talk to me about the B-3 bomber. What B-3 bomber? I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. They say that because Breen brings up everything about Beirut with Reagan.
Yes.
Which I wanted to bring up for the guys.
Which is a big deal. By the way, just as you mentioned it, I remembered yesterday I was watching something completely off topic. Somebody, my wife, turned something to the news and suddenly it's like, yeah, we're investigating the 1982 bombing in, I think it's one of the big cities in Lebanon. I was like, why now? Why now? Is that immediately I was like, oh shit, that's the same thing as the Reagan thing.
Yeah, because somebody said something finally.
Yeah.
Or somebody died, and then they had that in their last will and testament, like, upon my death, release this information.
And the thing is, on that plane ride, Conrad does say to Ames, like, yeah, it's a tale old as time. If you don't want it, you want something to happen, it just happens because you say it, because you're in a key position. It doesn't say that. It's just, he concises it into like one sentence, like, the media do what the media does, and it just happens.
Yeah. I love when they're off the plane and they're walking through baggage claim at the end there.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we have to start a war with somebody. War with who? I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Albania.
Yeah. It was so random. It's like, why Albania? And she's like, why Albania? Why not? Yeah, why not? Which is like, you're in a key position in the White House and you're talking about war. By the way, there's a fantastic line. We'll get to it later. We're going to war. We're not declaring war.
Well, we haven't declared war since World War
II. Exactly. That's a great line. That's a great line.
I had to say it because it's a great fucking line. Speaking of other great lines, is the first meeting when they first meet with Stanley Motz.
Moss. The T is silent.
I will always call him Motz. I don't care. It's written that way. Deal with it.
But by the way, I know you do most of the research from this very short amount of research I did. Do you know what book this movie is based on?
Oh, I had it written down and I can't remember. It's about
American Hero.
Yeah.
Same as the song.
Yeah.
So Stanley Moss. Sorry.
So yes, just mentions the fact, like, I remember meeting the president once. He gave me a book once, and he reads out the title of it, like, for 2 generations. That's a terrible title. And they give him the rundown of it, and he just laughs and goes, "This guy is fucked."
Yeah. And and he's talking. They're talking to him, and he still doesn't understand what's going on. And he's like, "What do you think?" It's like, this guy is fucked. He needs a war, and they're looking at him. Yes. It's like, do you want me to produce your war?
Yeah. He's like, well, just produce some footage. That's all.
Yeah.
Because it was Breen who said during the one during the picture of the bomb going down the chimney. He's like, yeah, I was in that building. It was completely staged.
Yeah, he completely he divulged the fact that we've done this before. It's like this thing didn't happen and this thing didn't happen, and I was there when they did that. And Stanley looks at him perplexed, and it literally goes over his head. It's like, I would be, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Yeah,
like have you also like faked the moon landing? You know what he would say? What Conrad would say? It's like, well, I wasn't employed back then, but they probably did that shit.
Probably did.
They probably did that shit.
I can neither confirm nor deny. But then they have the scene again with the press conference. With
I want to switch back to that, because this is where they literally they can tell, like, what do you want him to say? It's like, oh, this and this and this, and he says it, and Stanley watches it on TV, and then kind of the dime kind of falls, and it's like, oh, and then they have that little conversation in that hallway where he explains, well, like you said, I was in the warehouse when we did that, blah blah blah, and it seems like Stanley's cool with it.
Yeah, well, the thing is that there's the selling of it, and then the one thing that I love it too, when he actually does feed the line to him, and I can't remember that actor's name. He's been in so many things. Who plays the
I know he's been in like a lot of different things.
It doesn't matter, but the way that he says that, he didn't sell it right. That was a complete ad lib by Dustin Hoffman, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, he ad libbed that. He didn't sell it.
To be honest, I think for the longest, maybe because I've watched this movie a long time ago, Stanley Moss, the character, the Hollywood producer, for me, I always picture Hollywood producers as being that guy who is
very much so. Yeah.
Like the description is this for me, is he is so rich, he doesn't understand what is the material, but he does understand how to get to that material. Mm-hmm. He is so obsessed about the things around the product rather than the product itself. So he adds the Fad King. Well, when he accepts, he is super excited. He is obsessed with everything around it. He's got the Fad King, who is just all about the marketing and how to make money off of stuff after it's already out. They don't talk about the actual product. He is obsessed with clothing. He's obsessed with how it's going to look.
Remember what happens later with we're skipping ahead, but we can skip right back.
It's
a side note, but the line that he has about Schumann, like, what was he eating? It's like, oh, well, he was, surviving and subsisting off bugs. And they're like, no. We have to make it seem like he was somehow able to get some kind of American fast food, so we can end up selling burgers. So that way we can sell it in a combo meal. Call it the American hero meal.
Exactly. And that's coming from the Fad King, but that's how they operate. He was so obsessed that the cat would be a first of all, it needs to be a kitten, not a cat. Has to be calico. Cat. And then when the president comes in, it's like, I need it to be white.
White. He's a white cat. He's like,
he complains to the guy who does the special effects. He says, I hate it when they meddle.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is, to me, the picturesque Hollywood producer. Take your pick. Like, take your pick from anyone you know who's a Hollywood producer. That's the John Peters image of a Hollywood producer.
Yeah,
and we talk about John Peters when we talked about Tango and Cash, and you can tell how the cookie crumbles. Exactly how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. So anyway, the other line is what's really important there is how they do sell the war to Moss. And then Moss is asking, well, why would Albania want to go to war with us anyway? And Breen said, freedom? It's like, freedom? Why would they want that?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, and yes, that's exactly
like, no,
what
it's our way of life. See, that's how they sold it. That's how you sell it. They're attacking our way of life.
Yeah, and they don't want to do like a real war. So we have a bomb. Oh, they have the bomb, but it's a suitcase bomb.
Because that's what's so funny is Moss immediately goes, no, but then they would need to actually have like rocket propulsion, which they obviously clearly do not have because the UN would be
furious. Yeah.
Well, they would know about it.
Yeah.
No. They had a suitcase bomb, which I found so funny that when South Park mocked the suitcase bomb later as a snook. But
know why? You know what other movie came out rather at the same time? A movie with Nicole Kidman and what's his face from ER? George Clooney. With a suitcase. It's a backpack bomb. It's called The Peacemaker.
Oh God.
I think it's 98 or 97, but it's around the same time. So a lot of talks about that suitcase bomb going around in Hollywood, right? And then
it was so sorry, like De Niro has, I think, one of the best lines in the entire film, and he says like, because you can't have a war without an enemy. It's like, well, you can, but it would be a very dull war.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be absolutely fair, I would probably forget every single line that he has in this movie, but Robert De Niro has a series of one-liners, like I messed up the one-liner that he did with Ames while he was generally trying to sleep in the on the plane with the media. He has these one-liners every time he talks to a specific character. When he has Moss, he has that line. And when he talks to Tracy, he has the line of, no, you can't have it because they'll kill you.
No, I actually
and he has a line.
No, it's just like, no, you can't tell anyone about this. It's like, why? Because they'll come to your house and they will kill you.
So Robert De Niro has a series of one-liners or a retorts that is just fucking straight to the point. You know exactly where he's coming from, and he tells you information without you being subjected to a full-on exposition dump.
Yes.
But you get exactly what you need from him in very short lines, and it's throughout the movie, and it's so fucking gorgeous. I think he was not nominated, right? Robert De Niro, but Dustin Hoffman was.
Dustin Hoffman was, yeah.
I think Robert De Niro had the better lines and the better throughout storyline throughout the movie.
That's fair.
But, you know, it's so-and-so. It's so-and-so. Let me do once Stanley Moss is into this, he is full on. He's like, call Fat King, call Johnny Dean. I want you to come. And he's straight on the phone. He's like, okay, we're doing this. Let's go.
So what's so funny is that the conversation that he's having with Johnny Dean, what's the first thing that Dean asks him?
Yeah.
What's the back end on this?
Yeah, what's the back end on this? And Robert De Niro was like, it's fine. It's done. And as soon as he gets that okay, Stanley's like, yep, we're good. Whatever you need.
And he hands the phone to his assistant. He's like, yeah, he just got married. He's out in his truck, drinking and shooting a shotgun.
And that's one of the parts that I was like, the Hollywood producer is so fascinated by the mundane of other people's lives, where he thinks taking a new truck and going with a shotgun to hunt something, a miraculous thing. It's like, that's like for a lot of people in mid US, like a very normal thing, right?
Well, no, it's just how Johnny Dean in himself isn't a character at all. That's him. That's what was so funny about it.
Yeah. When things are
We
going, when
have
they're
that. Oh,
spitballing, they're going at it. It was
the
so
"Sit on My
glorious.
Lap" song made me laugh out loud. Because, like, well,
Really?
no, I didn't want you to make a song about it because you can tell Willie Nelson is just having a fucking ball.
Yeah,
Just sitting there.
I know.
Because the "Sit on My Lap" thing, it was there, but he was improving all the notes and everything. Like, he
Oh,
didn't
really?
words like his song. Like, he was just supposed to sing about the "Sit on My Lap," but everything else was all improv.
Nice.
Yeah,
Did they
but that's
improv Good
Willie.
Old Shoe?
No,
I
they
don't
did
no.
not.
Oh,
No.
would have been glorious. Yeah, but once things kind of heat up, it's super fast. And when
Mhm.
when they leave everything, they do have that conversation where no, the conversation with about the how do we market this comes in here, but with a little twist. So
Yeah.
we're talking about like they're talking about clothings and how they're going to market the who's going to go out and fight. It's just a unit. What are we going to do? And it's still very early in the whole like kind of situation,
Yeah.
and you get interjections from both it's Liz Butsky or whatever his kind of fashion woman. How do we do the patches? How do we do the uniform? How do we do this? How do we do where it's like I said, it's all everything is around and not actually the product. The
Yeah.
big problem. Oh, how are we going to sell this? They're selling it by just doing stuff like all the stuff, all
Mhm.
the like, oh, it's the music, it's the thing, it's the fashion, it's the appliances, whatever. And it does kind of comes across where you're not addressing the actual problem. The fact that they're sitting down, they're doing that brainstorming, and Ames comes in with oh, you have to sign these contracts because it's NDAs, and they don't even give a fuck. They just sign it and just
Sign him.
move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Well, because this is going to be a recurring theme is for everyone else, like the Fad King, for Johnny, for the stylist, they're all in it because they know they're going to make some money and they're going to walk away. The thing
Yeah,
that gets Moss in the end is he wants the credit for it, but it's like you can't take credit for this.
and this is exactly what I was going for, because after the whole night of
Yes, the
brainstorming, they see this commercial,
commercial is
and
like
Stanley is like, what is this
this is
shit?
so pedestrian. Like, why would you
Yes.
make this? Why would you
And
release this?
even like Dennis Leary's character, the Fad King, is like, this is god awful. I want like to burn this or something. He doesn't say I want to burn this, but he's like, he's like, what is this crap? Why do people listen to this shit?
Yeah.
And
Well, what's funny too is all of them in the room have openly admitted the fact they haven't voted in
yes,
in decades. They're
yeah,
just
they
like, yeah,
kind of
I don't vote.
confess to each other that
I
yeah,
don't vote. I
yeah,
don't
I don't
believe in the
vote.
process.
And it it's literally people who have zero skin in the game, and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that kind of irks me, because these people, there are these
Oh yeah,
people
they
working behind the
exist.
scenes
Oh yeah.
now on both sides, or
Sides.
all
Yeah.
three sides, if you want to be really serious about this, working to do that kind of shits. Maybe not that deep, but like
But
working to get the public with all sorts of masks and all sorts of things,
misinformation,
using the
yeah.
media to, to put their message out. I mean, like people like Stanley Moss and the Fad King, not
Yeah.
necessarily that commercial that we've seen.
Well, that, and also not necessarily the major news corporations either. They're just given incorrect information, so they
Yeah.
they run with, unfortunately, sometimes incorrect information, and that happens. It's been documented on countless occasions where that's been the case.
Yeah.
So
Of course, once everybody's out, like Conrad is going back to Washington, and Fadkin's like, so when are we going to war? It's like, we're not going to war. We haven't gone to war since the Second World War.
No, we haven't declared war.
Yeah, we haven't
World War
declared
II.
war. Sorry.
Yeah.
He says, when are we declaring war? It's like, we're not declaring any wars. We're just going to war. Don't worry about this.
And then they have right after that we have the entire setup for the headshots of the victims.
Yes, the whole
victim girl.
the whole studio thing, the whole scene with the studio.
I love the fact, like, how the hell would you do that in ADR? Get the Tostitos bag of chips out and insert a cat.
Fucking I need a new
Not
headset.
in 1997. That's for goddamn.
Not in 1997. No.
It was so bad is the fact that when they were doing the post ADR stuff, they actually had it superimposed the stock screaming. That made me laugh out loud because it's like,
there's stock. There is a thing called stock screaming. There's stock everything.
Everything. But the thing is, most people who have seen more than one television show in their life to me, like, I recognize that scream. Why do I know that scream?
But
then we have that whole.
There's a whole bit with the lasso opso thing, and it was like, this is so fucking Hollywood, and it's so fucking annoyed. I was being annoyed because I know that's my imagination, but it seems to happen in all these kind of movies where they depict the producer. It's always a guy like that, which means, hey, folks, this is what it actually looks like behind the scene.
What's so funny too is how it was Ames who convinces her to sign an NDA agreement without her agent's consent or her manager's consent.
Yes.
By slipping it by, going like, no, this is just boilerplate stuff, just sign it. And she just signs it away, and it's like, oh yeah, since you signed that, you're fucked now.
And like you mentioned before, it's like, can I have this on my resume? No. Why not? Because we will go into your house and it will kill you.
They'll kill you. Well, the thing too is like this poor girl, she doesn't realize that she just gave up her entire career as an actor.
Yes. That is literally it. Literally. If it was real, of course.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll have a respite for now, and we'll do our first segment of the night, and it is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters, have their text written off, we display them, and Oh My Feelings needs to guess which movie this is. Chat participation is most welcome, and bubble-am. Let's go.
Anger Management.
Anger Management.
Beverly Hills Cop 2?
No.
3?
Correct.
Oh, God damn you. Is it Bull Durham?
It is Bull Durham, correct.
Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers.
Great movie. Is that
you had
Moonstruck?
Problems? Not Moonstruck. Moonstruck is with Cher and Nicolas Cage. This is Marissa Tomei and very, very young Robert Downey Jr. It's in Paris, I believe they shot most of the movie, I think, or in Italy.
I don't remember it. No.
It is called Only You, because Saf will never ever get this movie.
Yeah.
Horror movie.
That's not The Blob.
It is the fucking Blob.
It's The Blob. Okay. We just talked about this.
Yes.
Why am I drawing a blank?
It is a recreation of an older movie starring Burt Reynolds.
I know. I have Any Given Sunday stuck in my head, and I know
it's not even Any Given Sunday. It's not. It's definitely not.
It's not The Replacements either, because that's a Keanu Reeves movie.
Not The Replacements.
About football, which is a good movie.
Not The Titans, no.
And I know Johnny Coco Diaz in this movie too.
Joey Coco Diaz is in it. He's not. Oh, he's right, like back of the poster right there.
Oh God. Nope, I'm gonna skip on it. Yeah, that's bad. I completely forgot it. And we just talked about this like 2 weeks ago.
The Longest Yard.
Is it The Other Guys?
The Other Guys, correct.
Yeah. Oh, fuck you.
This movie is terrible.
It's so bad.
It is so awful.
I always conflate this with Jupiter Ascending, and they're both terrible fucking movies.
Both came out roughly the same time. Not the same year. I don't think they came out the same year, but roughly the same time. So around 2016, 2017.
See, I can never remember the name of the movie because my friend always calls this, haha, it's the new Plan 9 from Outer Space. And that's what I always get. So I get
Not
Plan 9 from Outer
really,
Space
but
stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Just how on the quality of the film.
Okay. So I think Saf won't guess this. This is Valerian and the Thousand Planets City thingy-majig.
City of a Thousand Planets or something like that.
Yeah, City of a Thousand Planets.
It's
whatever.
awful.
It's Valerian, basically.
Yeah. Oh, it's Wedding Crashers.
And The Wedding Crashers as the 10th movie. Good.
Wow, two really easy ones that I just...
when I saw the lineup, I was like, yeah, that's not going to be a lightning round because it's not going to be a lightning round.
Yeah.
You wouldn't... Last time I had that poster with Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr., you got stuck immediately.
Yeah, it's like I don't think I've actually ever seen that movie.
I have
ever.
Once with my wife. Saf says Ender Game was better. Yes, but
Ender Game was better. Yeah.
Ender Game was, if you read the book, the movie was really awful.
Really bad.
Like
but the film overall was better
bad
than
adaptation.
and also Jupiter Ascending. It's a
they're
better
all
film
books, but the books are really much better.
I would say, oddly enough, even Maze Runner was better than Valerian and Jupiter Ascending.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't like Maze Runner that much.
It's better than the two of those, though.
I guess. I really didn't like Valerian because it made no sense at the end for me. Like, I was so baffled.
Well, apparently it was supposed to be a 4-hour film. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of lore and everything that they just completely glossed over.
Yeah, Saf in the chat. Yeah, I know that Ender's Game was a better adaptation to the books than Valerian.
Oh yeah, and also like the Aragon movie was to the books is
I think we talked about this like last week or 2 weeks ago. It was awful.
It was a long no, it was longer than that ago, but it was a long time ago. But we have talked about Aragon and how terrible
the books in the movie. It's like
what were you thinking?
Maybe they were not thinking.
So like we got Sean Connery in to do voice work. Fuck it, just put him on for as long as possible because he's gonna walk off set.
Was he on Aragon? No way. He already retired by then. You're thinking about a different dragon movie. You're thinking about the dragon movie with Dennis Quaid.
Oh, am I? Was that?
Yes,
oh, God,
the voice of the dragon was Rachel Weisz. The movie you're thinking about with Sean Connery and the dragon is Dragonheart. You're thinking about Dragonheart. I think it's called Dragonheart. I'll you know what? We'll Jamie, pull it up. We'll do a quick.
I was gonna say the only like dragon based film that I found moderately interesting in the last 25 years was, oddly enough, Reign of Fire.
Dragonheart was correct.
Confirmed.
Score 1 for the Meffy. Dragonheart was correct.
Reign of Fire. I actually enjoyed that movie.
Reign of Fire with Christian Bale and
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. Hey, when it came out, I think it flopped or didn't
it flopped real bad. Yeah.
Okay, I remember it flopping. But if you take it now, just watch it. It's fucking great. I mean,
it's just like it's a post-apocalyptic disaster story. It has dragons in it.
Yeah, it has plot holes, but fucking Waterworld had fucking plot holes, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
I was to say, we don't bring up Waterworld.
It was Hey,
What?
it was
Yes, because
entertaining.
my gold standard for plot continuity is Waterworld.
We can have a full podcast on that if you want.
Oh,
Or maybe
I would
not.
love to talk about that. Oh, I would love to talk about that film because I remember seeing that as a kid and going, "What is this bullshit?"
Yeah. Okay, so we have that whole scene downstairs in the actual studio, and then we go upstairs into the ADR room where we see all the stuff that technically you couldn't really do at 1997, but it's a
Yeah,
fun little scene to like, oh, look at how the media can do all sorts of this fucking crap and
yeah.
make you believe there's something going on because
Mhm.
you see it on the screen. And that's where comes in. They leave the studio. They have this whole little stretch limo, right? They leave the studio, and Conrad comes up with some sort of they are trying to get some sort of a festival or a harvest festival coming
Yeah.
in.
Well, that's what's so funny too is just you bring that up because they mention that in kind of in the background, and they never go back on that point until it's shown later.
Yes, yes. It kind of shows later with I think they come in with the president,
Because
right?
the president,
The one
because a
of
little girl comes up with her with I
with
think
this
it was
sheath of
with wheat
yeah,
or
of wheat, yeah, or
because this is from the first bit of the harvest of the year, and it's supposed to be supposed to symbolize something.
yeah,
because
he
because he was even sitting in the back like, isn't there some kind of like harvest Albanian festival we can utilize?
yeah, he's literally spitballing. And I wanted to get this because you mentioned the Motorola thing. And like I said, there's a shot where you literally have a fucking product placement
They spent, yeah,
front and center
yep,
with the logo of Motorola coming in.
yep,
Like I stopped it right here, but a like 2 frames after this, it stops and you can clearly see the entire product in front of your face for like 3 seconds
yep,
while he literally spitballs like ideas with that the guy on the other end, which we don't even know who it is.
yeah.
We don't hear the other guy or the other girl. It doesn't really matter, right? And then they get stopped by the CIA, William H.
They
Macy,
say,
the God King, until his wife went to prison. Never mind. Long story.
yeah,
Long story. Now, William H. Macy, I love William H. Macy in almost everything that he does. I admit it, I hate him in Shameless.
oh really?
I
I
maybe I
think
just don't like the character.
no, I think that's supposed to be the point though, because Frank is
Really?
so utterly repulsive. You're supposed to hate Frank.
Well, then William H. Macy is
See,
an
because
incredible
I
actor.
think he does an amazing job. The only one time you feel bad for Frank is when he does end up with, I think it's season 2 or is it season 3, where he ends up with the girl with cancer and he
Oh,
goes
that's
down to
right.
Mexico with her. That's the only time you feel bad
Right.
for Frank because he is genuinely does care about this person and she does care about him, even though he is a slimy piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's his
Right.
character. But when
Coming
she
back.
dies, he's completely lost without her.
Yeah.
And so you
And
actually
and he
feel
goes
empathy for
he
him.
goes like on this mini was it going on this mini rampage where he fucks a lot of like older women? Is that right?
Yeah.
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 Never mind. Right. Back to this. This is
That's a
Agent.
fun show.
That is a fun show. This is Agent Young. Did I get
Mhm.
that correct? Agent Young,
Yes.
where they literally stop Ames and Conrad. They take him out into this bar and is like, there is no war. Our satellites say there's no war. There's no ballistic missiles. There's
There's
no
nothing.
nuclear
He's like,
power. Albania
and
is screaming to the UN,
yes.
what the fuck is
Uh,
going
and
on?
he also says that there is nothing on our pristine Canadian border. Yeah.
Yes.
And the other line that he has, which is perfect, it's the best line that he has. I know a couple of things. One, there is no difference between good flan and bad flan.
Yes, I love that
And
line.
there is no war.
And
And
what Robert De
Green
Niro says,
goes to work.
Yes, and that is one. He goes into this whole spiel where he shuts him down so quick.
Yeah.
And the best line, it's literally one of the first line he says is, he says, "There's no war," and Conrad comes back to him and is like, "Yes, there is a war. I've seen it on television." And I was like, "Yes,
That's the point.
that's the point. I've seen it on television. Of course, there's a war. I've seen it on television."
Excuse me. Mhm.
Yeah, that's okay.
And
And
it keeps saying too. It's like he mentions the fact that what are the American people going to believe? They believe that their lifestyle, their freedoms are under attack. This is the new warfare.
yeah, it's a small little group of terrorists with a bomb, and I was like, "Oh shit, you don't know. You don't even know what's gonna happen. Literally, you
I
don't even
know,
know what's
right?
really like
I know.
IRL. Really, what's gonna happen with a small group of terrorists? Holy shit!"
It's under 4 years from this time.
Exactly. And I was like, "Oh my god, this movie is so prophetic." Like we said at the beginning.
Yes.
Yes, and the whole point of him, how he flips the table, and you can see Ames trying to like give excuses,
Well,
and
because she
it
was
made me
immediately
laugh.
squirming. Like I'm on a whole bunch of different kind of prescription pickles. It made me dizzy. I don't know, Shirley. Like this is all his idea.
That's the thing that made me laugh. It's like Anne Heche is notoriously crazy, or was notoriously
That's true.
on medication. I was like,
Yeah,
Remember, this is Anne Heche
little.
right before Alan came out on live television,
No, this
or
after. This
this
is
is
right
right.
after
It's like
Ellen,
it's
or like
rather
right
the
at the
same
same
time.
time when
Yeah,
they were actually
96, 97,
together.
98,
Yeah,
somewhere around that. It's like nobody knew you were literally on medication.
yeah.
Yeah, and like super. So he flips the table on him right after that. It's like, yeah, we're watching the television. It's like, yeah, but our satellites don't see it. It's like, if the satellites don't see the threat, what good are you? And that's where everything kind of turns. It's like, if we're spending that much budget on a war, on defense, if there's no war, why should we why should we spend money on security if there's no war to be had? Who are we fighting? Sweden and Togo?
Yeah,
That's the line where like, oh my god,
that's
that's
that's a good line.
that's a really good line.
Yeah.
And
I
the
think the
whole
other thing would have been better would be see if he said Switzerland, because
yes.
Switzerland is notoriously just neutral. They were sitting around during World War II going, "What was that noise?"
What was that? That's Robin Williams, and you shut
Yes,
your
I
mouth.
know.
And you shut your mouth. And the thing is, it cuts from Conrad being from, he wasn't defensive. He was just sitting there taking it. And then when he flips it, he like sits forward, talks to Agent Young, and Agent Young has this face. He is a curmudgeon.
Well, what's so funny too is the way that he wasn't even defensive; he was accusatory.
Yeah.
That was the best thing
He went
about it.
from being a blank slate into being super aggressive.
Aggressive, yeah.
Yeah, super aggressive. And that threw Agent Young out
Yeah,
for a
as in
fucking
he
loop.
had the authority also to be that aggressive and to pose these questions to the CIA agent.
When Agent Young was like really frustrated, he said, "Well, who are you working for?" And Conrad says, "Nobody's name you want me to say."
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a veiled threat.
Threat. Oh,
That's
yeah.
a really veiled threat.
I think really ultimately at the end, that was really the line that the guy was like, "Oh, fuck." Yeah. Well, sorry about that. Pleasant journeys.
And like you said, it comes the setup and payoff comes a little bit later. It actually is right after the bar.
Okay, yeah,
we see Conrad and Ames kind of talk, and then we have this like a simple newscast, and they mention that sheath and the harvest, the whole
wheat,
that
and
the whole that bullshit.
It was that the president gives the grandmother the jacket to, and
Yes.
she starts weeping, and it's like, oh, he don't know. He's such a good guy. The spin on that is so great.
Yes, and then we have We Are the World. Oh, sorry, American Hero.
Dream.
American
That's
Dream. Sorry,
American
not
Dream,
American Hero.
yes.
And this, like, anybody who is a little bit older when it came out in 97. So if you were, I don't know, I was 15, no, not 18. Yeah, 17. I was 17 when I watched this, and I was like, yeah, this is like,
This is how We Are the World.
this is exactly We Are the World. And this is like, oh, we just threw this thing together. And when they're sitting there on the booth, a newscast comes in, and we've got
Neil going, yeah, the war's over.
Yeah, that's the Senator Neil comes over. He's the guy who's running against the president. It's like, yeah, I've got sources in the CIA, and they tell me, yeah, the war's over. We're done. And they're sitting there looking at each other, and Conrad is completely like cool. He's the only one like
it's Moss. Moss is the
Moss
one
was
who
cool?
is Moss was the one who was cool. It's like, this is nothing.
Oh,
because Moss is always constantly cool. Moss is the one who's constantly going, this is nothing. We can figure this out.
No, what Conrad does is like, yeah, he ended the war. He goes to Stanley's like, he ended the war. And Stanley's like, how did he end the war? He said it on television. He said it on television. It's over. We're done. Yeah. And Stanley comes up with, yeah, we can't end the war. We don't. Oh, he says, I'm so stupid. We had a war, but we didn't have a hero. Yeah. We had a whole war coming in our movie, and we didn't have a hero. How could I forget the hero?
And see man, you even have Dustin Hoffman's mannerisms down when you said that. That was great, by the way.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
But when immediately, because they are still recording American Dream, that you have Moss in the background going, stop it.
Yeah, stop it. We're done. Stop recording. We're done. The war's over.
The war's over. And what does Willie Nelson say? Okay, I'm going to go get drunk.
And I think Stanley says, don't get drunk yet. Yeah. Don't get drunk yet.
So then they talk about the behind the soldier bit, and then everything with old.
Yeah, and the Fat King comes up, like we mentioned it with, he's behind enemy line, and he has these rations, which are little mini burgers that you can like tear the packet, and it heats up. And literally, there are packets like that in. Oh, I need a new thing. There are packets like that in the U.S. military now. There weren't back then, but there are now.
Eat, right?
It's ready to eat. You just rip the cord, and there are.
It's a self-heating packet.
It's a self-heating packet. You just have to rub it a little bit, and you're good to go.
Yeah, they're MREs. That's what they are. They're MREs.
It's not hamburgers, but it's a pretty decent meal with like balanced protein and carbs and stuff that you just rip it and eat it on the go.
Well, yeah, because they have those. Well, they obviously do have those in the modern military, but they're like spaghetti bolognese. Because I actually have seen ones that you can buy where they're like, they're still the
you can buy those.
You can buy them.
Yeah, if you want to do the Trail of the Appalachie, you could buy those.
Or if you're just a crazy prepper.
Well, there's that.
Then what's so funny too is they bring in the guy who's going to be recording after them doing American Dream. The guy is just like, hey, how long are you guys going to be here? We got a session coming up in 45 minutes. He's like, now we got to work on this new song. So they just start working on the song together.
Yeah, by the way, the shoes thing, it was mentioned. I kind of forgot about that, but the Fat King does mention something about shoes in the first meeting that they have, and Conrad's kind of like, no, we don't need that. We don't need the shoes. And then it cycles back around to this where he's like, yeah, if we call him like Schumann or Schumer, we can have a line of shoes and sell that. And that's where they kind of accept that idea of the shoe. And they tell Johnny Dean, well, give me like something about old shoe, new shoe, and that's where it kind of develops. And they have this sort of a back and forth, kind of a riff blues song.
And what's so funny too is, and he says like, "Can you superimpose a scratchy sound?"
Yes.
It's like, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Yeah.
That's a great shot, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a great shot. And they're talking about that. And Conrad says, well, if we have that on an old record, we can superimpose that and put it in the Library of Congress, and somebody would find it.
Yeah.
And it's like that's fucking.
And it was so funny because it was
deal.
one person who was working on the team who was sleeping with her boyfriend, who mentions like, I think I've heard that song before, and all of a sudden it gets found. It's like,
they have that little meeting at the same, like, underneath of the I call it underneath, but
I just call it the war room.
It just looks like looks like a bunker.
Yeah.
Let me just do something if you don't mind. Bam, and I've closed it. Never mind. Maybe not show my entire screen. That'll be great. Great,
yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, we got real spam bots over here.
That's what it is. It happens.
It happens. We've gotten so big, we've got our own bots.
Yay. What's so funny too is in the interim they have the conversation where the president tells Moss and company, like, I'm not going to do this speech. It's too corny.
Yes.
And they have this sit down with him where he walks him through how to deliver the speech, and people are walking out of the Oval Office prep meeting crying. It's like, we got him.
Yes.
We got him.
Yes. While that was that's going on, they're trying to find a person to fill that little role. So they're going through the entire list of like army personnel, and they're finding that particular
anything
name.
With shoe. Yeah.
Anything with shoe. And they find this guy called Willie Schumann.
And what was it that they didn't go through? It was supposed to be, I can't remember at the end what they said. They accidentally went through the prison directory, not the other directory.
Yeah, they went through all the directories, but that includes incarceration, incarceration system, which they weren't technically supposed to do. The thing about that is Ames kind of said something about, as long as he's not illegal, that's fine. Right? She mentioned it, not that particular point, but like
the person that finds him can't be an illegal.
Yeah,
that's why at the end they have that person swearing themselves in as a United States citizen. Like, that's dirty.
That's very dirty.
So dirty.
That's very, very dirty.
But what's so funny is at the end there, they think they've got this all kind of wrapped up. So they're walking out of
before they actually go and pick up Willie Schumann, they have another thing which I found super dirty. Is they go at night with a bunch of fucking shoes and they start throwing it.
This is before that. This is the bit.
Yeah, this is before.
Bringing up. No, the bit that I'm going to bring up is when they're walking out there. They have, because this is an ongoing, just recurring bit throughout this too, because Moss keeps asking Conrad, so what exactly do you do for the president?
Yeah.
And he brings up again, but again, De Niro has a line as Plato says, it doesn't matter how the fuck you get there as long as you get there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
Plato said that?
Plato never said that. And I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yes.
That's fucking funny.
The speech in Morse code was it "Mom have courage"?
Courage, mom.
Courage, mom.
And that kind of that the whole bit with the speech is Stanley was real adamant to have it. Like we said, it's corny, and he's real adamant. Yes, it's supposed to be corny because it's supposed to work on the mom type, the middle America, the people who are like.
It's supposed to just pull at the heartstrings. That's how it's supposed to do. Yeah,
exactly. Those middle America those middle America moms that was like, yes, let's go to war. And that, if you know anything about the Iraq war, that's where they got to them. Sorry.
Well, and what's funny too is they have that, and then later there is actually just slightly after this, they have a song by another artist about Courage Mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Did Johnny Dean sing it?
It wasn't Johnny Dean. It was a different act. It was a different musician. But
but
what's important is they said they cut to an actress that was in the crowd, who actually she's a bit actor. She's been in a lot of different things on mostly TV stuff, but she was crying. She's like, we told her to cry on cue. We didn't have to. She was already crying. The song already got to her that way. Do you know what that reminded me so much of?
What?
All of the post 9/11 songs.
Oh yeah.
Every last one of them.
But it wasn't planned. We didn't know they would.
I know it wasn't planned. It's feeding off of a tragedy.
Do you remember the 2 days after with all the Hollywood actors in that studio trying to raise money?
Fuck you.
Was it hosted by Tom Hanks or something? I don't remember exactly. Or it had several hosts, and it was so cringy. And I was like, why? I get why, but why?
Why couldn't you put on a PBS telethon as kind of thing where you could just have people just have comedians come in and do fun bits? See, that's what I gave Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert Gottfried, God rest his soul, will always get an ultimate pass from me. You know why? He was the one who had balls enough to do a 9/11 joke first.
Oh, was he the first?
It was at a Comedy Central roast, and that's the reason why he lost his Affleck commercial deal. Yeah, he lost a shitload of money off of that one joke.
Damn. Poor fucking Gilbert Gottfried. I think is he a New Yorker originally? No.
I believe he's from the
the East
Coast, but yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
like I said, we got the bit where Conrad and Stanley throw the shoes.
This is so great. There are some of the shoes that were in that film are still up there.
Really?
On some of the light posts that are out there in DC.
Really?
At the time of the note was written, which was in 2015.
Wait. They actually threw that in DC?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a stage,
no.
Hollywood stage.
No.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. And I have they have that bit where
yes, the setup and payoff of the whole
the
thing.
Setup and payoff. Yes.
At the very beginning, they asked, well, yeah, bring in Jim Belushi. He's like, Jim Belushi's Albanian? And then at the end, people are asking after he says something in Albania. He's like, I didn't know Jim Belushi was Albanian.
Nobody fucking knew where he's actually Albanian. It says so in the wiki. It could be the Wikipedia is wrong, but I don't know.
All I know is man. That was so funny.
That was wonderful. That was so great.
Perfect. When I saw that, I was like, this is so just perfect setup and payoff. And I'm like, as soon as the first time I watched this again, as a reminder, I was like, Meth is gonna love this bit because it's the perfect setup and payoff.
Yeah, it's literally, and it took so long because it was so. If you know the movie, you're like, yeah, he's gonna come up later, and that's where he's gonna be. But if you watch this for the first time, it's like, why are they talking about Jim Belushi being Albanian? What?
Yeah.
And it comes off, and he's speaking Albanian. He's like, Jim Belushi is from Albania, or his parents or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was so good. That was so good.
Yeah. And they have the whole bit about the saving of Schumann and how they're going to bring him back.
This is the song. That's the Courage Mom song.
Yes. Yeah.
Playing in the background while they're going to the plane or on the plane going to get Schumann. And as they land, the great Woody Harrelson.
He has the bag over his head and he's in handcuffs and chains. And everyone's like, why is he in handcuffs and chains? Oh, he raped a nun.
Yeah.
What?
What?
And the line that he says to Anne Heche, "Are you religious?"
Yeah. And the thing is with where they have that not this particular scene that I've put on the screen, but once they're sitting down, they're literally in like sitting two and twos, and Woody Harrelson is literally every line he's in a different kind of state.
Different state.
One,
Yeah,
he's
which is-
being creepy, talking to Anne Heche. Then he's like aloof. Then he looks like he snaps too. It's like, who are you people? And Anne Heche keeps feeding him the pills.
Which did you see what his pills were called?
No.
Prozalium.
Prozac.
It's just a mix of Prozac and Valium.
And the thing is,
and they keep saying the line over and over and over again. He's fine
as long as he keeps his meds.
as long as he keeps getting his pills.
The thing is, he reads how much he's supposed to get him. He's supposed to get like 2 or 3 a day, and she keeps feeding him.
Popping him. And at one point in time, he does the whole beans bit for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he mentions the fact he's like, "Hey, I just say,
there it is. I got it. It says Prozalium ES 750 milligrams.
Yeah.
Refills
for life.
For life. Take 2 pills every 4 hours. Dude, this is fucking nuts.
Yes. What's really funny too about the whole setup too is he's setting up at one point in time he breaks it and he goes. He almost sounds sincere when he says this, but given his past, it's so funny how he says this. He says, since I'm out here and everything, I would really like to go to church.
Yeah, which
what he did before.
Yeah.
And then he mentions later, like, "Do you guys got any beers? Because I'm down to party."
Yeah, like I said, every line he like switches to a different state of consciousness. And the thing is this: the plane goes down because there's a big storm.
Well, no, he gets agitated with Breen. And I just want to just give you Woody Harrelson the credit he's due in this film because I think it's great.
Oh yeah,
his mid-90s work. It's Mickey Knox and this.
Basically, yeah.
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah,
great
yeah.
fucking movie, by the way. We'll have to do an Oliver Stone month at one point in time, and that will have to include JFK, which we're going to say back and to the left about 10,000 times during that podcast. But
probably
anyway.
Yes,
he gets upset with Breen because Breen just keeps talking about his pills and everything.
Yeah,
and he insinuates that they're putting something in the beans. He's gonna. What do you mean they're putting something in the beans? Oh, you fucking! They give him another pill, and then he snaps. He's like, "Where am I? Who are you people?"
Yeah, exactly.
To your point,
the thing is, once he gets up, the storm kind of hits the plane. They crash, but it seems like they're really fine. They crash, but
it
they
seems
didn't
like
die.
Everybody's perfectly fine.
Yes, but everywhere there's like debris and fire.
But I'm thinking, like, also we didn't see the pilots or the stewardess.
Nope.
Sorry, flight attendant, whatever you want to call it. At the time they were called
the stewardess is fine. Yeah. God damn it. Yeah.
But the thing is, you only see the people that were sitting down or that were in the back. So did everyone of the flight crew die? Then
I love the insults she puts on him.
Oh,
because she mentioned something. You commie motherfucker. Which, hey,
commie, liberal, leftist.
Liberal, commie, leftist.
Pinko, piece of shit.
Yes. Yeah. As a Hollywood producer, and you would know some people, especially on the internet, especially people that really dislike, let's call it the MCU, like, oh yeah, that's totally correct. That's like, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. All of them are like that. Or all of them. It's like, look who's, by the way, I don't oppose to that position, but I love the fact it's sort of, yes, this is what people think of us for the longest time. Not to mention going back to the McCarthy era.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what most or half the people or whatever you want to call it think of Hollywood in general.
Mhm.
But the most important thing is not that. The most important thing is she comes up, was like, what do you want to do now? How did you got us here? It's like, and Stanley turns around and is like, that's nothing. That's nothing. Wait, you like feel like we had 4 days to film in the like Arabia and all the camels are dead. Yeah, it's not what he says.
No, was no. We had to film in Italy. Nearly none of them could speak English. They were all on high on Benzedrine and drunk on grappa. Imagine how rough that was. This is nothing. That's how Moss is. That's why I think Dustin Hoffman really got the Academy Award, because nothing fazed him.
No,
the only thing that fazed him, which this is true, is the fact that he keeps getting told, you're not gonna get credit for this. No one's ever gonna know about this. Like, he's gonna get an ambassadorship. I mean, like, that's amazing. That you're set up for life.
I mean, it seems to me that he really didn't need any more money or like he didn't even need a title. He was already set for life. I think if you think about it,
I meant just everything behind that would be the respect too that he would get by being an ambassador.
Yeah. And they do,
but for him, he even mentions later the fact that he didn't get credit for one of the films that won. When that's when he uses the line, "Producers never win an Academy Award." It's like, but that's wrong.
Yeah, it comes up like closer to the end, but yeah. So they get rescued by a guy,
and they do have the whole
harvester.
Big, I love the whole bit too, where he's already working on the background too, where it's like, oh yeah, the 303, yeah, they all were written as they were incarcerated in order to hide them because it was a secret op.
Yes,
it's like,
so
ooh, that's smart.
That's really like, that's very sinister, but it's one of those sinister decisions where, yeah, maybe a lot of those things are happening for real.
Yeah,
and you would never ever know.
Yeah.
You would
and then
never
they have the whole bit
really
where
know.
they go to the gas station, and the gas station bit is just this is where the real black comedy of the film comes out, and I think it's fantastic.
I think
because while he is someone's using the restroom, he comes out, and then they're watching the TV with the owner of the gas station, who's an elderly man.
Yeah, there.
And the thing is,
right
too,
there.
This elderly man is watching news constantly. So the one big plot hole there is, wouldn't he have recognized Schumann off the rip because he's seen his face about 10,000 times?
Yeah,
I
guess.
Under the circumstances, I could understand the reason why he would have killed him.
The thing is, he is so glued to the screen, he doesn't even know who is in his store.
But he goes into his own home afterward.
Yeah, he goes on. The home is in the back. It's like in the trailer in the back.
Wouldn't the girl recognize him though too?
His interaction with the girl is literally, he goes out, he talks to her, and she screams and runs into the house.
Well, the thing is, but wouldn't she recognize his face as it's plastered over everything?
I think it's a notion of perception. It's a notion of perception of, if you see someone you know, but you haven't seen them in a long time, and now you see them dressed in a convict uniform, and you don't expect to see them, would you recognize them right off the bat?
That's fair. It's just a small,
and that's someone you know, not to mention someone you don't know that you just seen on the TV.
Yes,
even if you see them 10,000 times,
but so anyway,
you wouldn't be able to see them 10,000 times, because we're talking about days here, right? We're talking about a few days. So, it's story-wise, you can say, yeah, it's some sort of a plot hole, but I think you can justify that a little bit by the fact that it's not a lot of days. His face is not like superly popular or superly known.
Well, see, the only thing that I found
And
interesting,
her dad has a more chance of recognizing than the
yes,
daughter.
I know. But the thing that I just found interesting about that was the fact that they were able to capture the zeitgeist so easily with the Courage Mom thing, and they were already showing how people were. They had the rallies and everything with the old
Yeah,
shoe
but
where people
that's
were thrown shoes.
manufactured. Yeah, that's
No,
manufactured.
not
Oh, the
the
thing that
we're
the
throwing the
entire like the
shoes.
basketball hall where they throw the shoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
That kind of stuff where that wasn't manufactured, so it actually was clearly like it captured the entire zeitgeist at the time. So that's why I'm just like, that's why that kind of it's a persnickety issue.
yeah, I
I'm being
guess.
yeah, but
So our guy Schumann.
yeah, just to say he lost kind of his battle with his urges, and
Yes, he
some
attacks
people
the
got
girl,
it.
and the
Some
dad is
people got an R
immediately.
word. I mean, they're awful fucking people, but
Yeah, there's a reason why he's in prison, and
but the line is
Stanley's just
I love
outside.
it. I
He's
love the
calling for
line. I love
what?
the line. Where you hear the shot, he goes, "Oh my god, they killed him! They killed him! They killed him! They killed him!" You want to like, "Oh, he's not dead.
He's not dead.
Never
Bam.
mind."
Oh, that's a great favorite moment. And then
But oddly enough, though, that is the best set of circumstances for them. That he's already dead, so he
yeah,
can not only
because
be a war hero, but also he won't talk.
it's better to have a martyr than a live hero.
No.
In
Well, and it's
their set of circumstances, and the
well,
fact that there is a shot of Senator Neal, it's very short shot. It's like
so
produce the guy,
produce him, yeah,
yeah, produce
show
him. Yeah,
Well,
you said
the
he's
other
a
bit
hero.
too,
Give him, show him to me.
the other bit too, it's what's the most important part is it would have been fine if Schumann was of sound mind and body. The thing is, he is completely crazy.
Yes,
So the thing is, him getting killed was basically just a giant win for them.
yeah, yeah, and here's where they talk, and Ames brings up the fact that as long as he was not rescued by an illegal alien,
Yeah,
illegal immigrant or illegal alien, just not that, and we'll skate over and it's gonna be fine.
fine.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. Right?
Yep.
Right. We're gonna stop here because there's basically one big scene at the end.
Mhm.
So we're gonna stop this and we're gonna do our second segment of the night, the fun stuff. It's called Screen Fighter.
Round 1. Fight.
What is Screen Fighter for the uninitiated is we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. There's no discernible difference between the two. Both of them are good. Both of them are bad. We fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? Ba-blam! Iron Man or Life of Brian? Dude, this came up the third cycle that I do. It's like I came up with the first two, not so much. Second two, I know where the wind is gonna blow. Then this came up. By the way, Flickchart has incredible posters.
Oh yes, yeah,
Incredible posters, by the way.
yeah.
I've seen it.
Oh.
I've seen a few. Whoo, baby.
I don't know if I told you I'm gonna incorporate that Freddy Krueger one into my horror theme half sleeve I'm doing on my arm.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. That is a great fucking poster.
It's a great poster.
Yeah.
While I think Iron Man did the best thing in basically creating the MCU, I'm not talking about the second Hulk film because the just because they had a teaser at the end doesn't count. Without the initial Iron Man, there wouldn't have been the big MCU creation, essentially. But I always have to go with the one song that'll always make me happy, Meph.
I know.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Bright side of life. I thought I might have a different take because I love the Iron Man. I love everything that it stands for. I love the fact that it was done outside of the Disney system.
Yes,
It
very much
was
so.
Marvel Studios before the buy-in. It had different people involved in it, like Avi Arad and other producers, Hank Perlmutter.
Mhm.
Kevin Feige was involved as a producer, but he wasn't the Kevin Feige
He that
all
we know now,
knowing,
yeah.
all
Yeah.
showing, and all everything. And this movie is credited as the movie that saved Robert Downey Jr.'s
His
career.
career.
Some might
don't-
say it's Kiss Kiss Bang
Bang
Bang that did
Bang.
it. That's after he was out of prison and out of his troubles. And it's involving Jon Favreau, which I appreciate as a very good individual
Because
indie.
Chef is
indie,
amazing.
fucking amazing.
And
And
Swingers, we already
Swingers
covered.
that we
Yeah.
covered, and Very Bad Things that we covered, that he was kind of involved in. Life of Brian came out the year I was born. It has for a very long time been one of my favorites, one of my two favorites of Monty Python. It's number 2 after Holy Grail. It has a lot of themes that a lot of things that very much resonate with me now as I am
Mhm.
right now. I would go Life of Brian.
Brian.
I
All
would
right.
go Life of Brian. It's
Wow.
a long way around.
Even Saf agrees as well. This is
even
unanimous.
Saf agrees. Life of Brian. Wow. Jackie Brown or Desperado?
That's a tough one.
I think you know where I stand. I'll say it. I'm gonna go with Desperado.
I know you
Not
don't like
because
Jackie Brown, no.
not because of the mariachi trio, not because of anything. I don't like Jackie Brown. I appreciate it for what it is. I don't like Jackie Brown. It's a movie that I've seen in the theaters with the same guy I've watched Wag the Dog with, my good buddy. And I've watched Desperado with him as well. But I fell asleep during Jackie Brown, and one of those movies where I fell asleep, came back to at the end of it, and it really didn't I didn't lose a beat. Desperado, fun movie, not a big, big whole story around it, but just a good old popcorn flick.
I mean, it was the continuation of the rise of Robert Rodriguez.
Yes.
So that's, yeah. And
literally, Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino, both creators, are big collaborators with each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, they worked with each other on Grindhouse. I mean, the Grindhouse, the duo films, they both worked on each other's films.
Yep.
On Death Proof and was it the Attack from Mars?
God. The one with the leg that is never mind.
Yes, I know the missing leg. She puts, she attaches I think it was an AR-15 to it.
Somewhat, yeah, so or an AK, whatever.
I was gonna say, I think Jackie Brown is the kind of a film that you want to sit down and you want to watch in depth once. That's it. I've told you this before. I think it's one of Tarantino's worst. I think it's right up there with
Hateful Eight. Because you don't like Hateful Eight.
No,
and you
I
don't
think
like Death Proof either.
I think Jackie Brown and Death Proof are right in simpatico on like the worst Tarantino films. And that doesn't mean they're bad films either. They're good films. They're just like they're the worst of the best.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know exactly.
It's like Ricky Bobby would say, if you're not first, you're last. It's that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So I would have to go with Desperado because Desperado is just much more enjoyable. It's a movie that I can turn on and just sit down and watch. Even in the middle of it, I could turn it on and be like, this is gonna be dumb.
It's not a, there's no like new themes in it. There's no new shots in it. There's like certain bits of action where it's like, oh, that's fucking cool. Especially in 1995, where they had a little bit more of experimental. They had more of a leeway experimenting with certain new themes, new action kind of shots.
Yeah, because Once Upon a Time in Mexico. That was the one with Johnny Depp and
that's
Enrique Iglesias,
2003, I
right?
think.
Yeah, because that was the one with the three of them with their, and I think was it Enrique Iglesias who had the rocket launcher
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the guitar case.
The rocket launcher is in this one too.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. Desperado. Deadpool or Apollo 13? Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Easy. It's Ryan Reynolds to the absolute T.
Ryan Reynolds. Oh God, this is actually a very interesting one because
Conan the Barbarian.
Really like both these movies. Have you seen The Losers?
I have seen The Losers. Yes.
I actually really enjoyed that movie a lot.
I think I watched it only once though, so it's not terribly fair. I mean, they're both they're so different.
Yeah.
They're so different. I would go with Conan though.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the sheer entertainment.
Well, that and also the fact that you played Conan Exiles for how many hundreds of hours now?
Correct. I think I've clocked in about 550 hours on that game.
I would say, was it Drive Them Before Me and Hear the Lamentations of Their Women? Yeah. The Losers is a good movie, though. It is.
Yeah, it's
But speaking of, this is another good one.
That's pretty hard. That's pretty hard for me. I don't know. Labyrinth or Smoking Aces? Sorry. I'm really sorry. It's going to be Smoking Aces.
You know what? You don't
have
to be.
For the sheer entertainment.
Well, then they showed up. Oh, this is Jeremy Piven being Jeremy Piven in a Jeremy Piven movie.
Also has Ryan Reynolds playing a Ryan Reynolds role in a Ryan Reynolds movie. It's so fucking crazy. Yeah.
No, again,
I haven't seen it in a long time. I have to admit, I haven't seen it in a long time.
I'll have to admit, Smoking Aces is more again the kind of it's almost a pseudo heist in the way that things are set up.
Yeah,
because there's always this big payoff at the end, which I thought they pulled off pretty brilliantly in a movie that was just this small kind of almost indie budget film. Like it wasn't a big movie when it came out.
No, it wasn't.
And Labyrinth's fucking Labyrinth.
Let's give Labyrinth its props. Jennifer Connelly does a great job, even though she's pretty young in the movie. I think she's
fucking David Bowie in that goddamn
David Bowie as the Goblin King is fucking amazing. And Jim Henson's, I think one of his best works. I'm not joking. One of his best works because they took the Storyteller kind of, remember the Storyteller TV show?
Yes. Yeah.
This is like an earlier work, I think, because the Storyteller is around 90 or 88. They took kind of the same design as this. So the goblins and the monsters. So they went from Jim Henson, the Muppets, into Jim Henson, these are fucked up Muppets.
Like, well, and also like Labyrinth has had a big cultural impact because it's been referenced how many countless times, it's been used as a trope for things and how many countless things.
Yes, and overall it smells bad.
I would put it this way: if you were with children, Labyrinth.
Yes,
but if you were with adults,
like Friday evening, Saturday evening, like we said, just shooting the shit, I'm gonna go Smoking Aces.
Speaking of another Woody Harrelson film, okay, so one is outrageously tragic. The other one is a god-awful piece of trash. Damn you, Flickchart. You're going to make me say it. They're going to make me say it, Meph.
I think they're going to make me say it, too. Jumanji.
Oh, God damn it.
Last one. Terminator Salvation or Gattaca. See, this Flickchart is being fucking amazing today. Gattaca introduced us to not Rob Lowe, the other Lowe. No,
you mean Jude Law?
Jude Law.
Yeah. Which, side note, this is actually the film that Ethan Hawke met Uma Thurman.
Yes, correct. And they had
They were together for
a
many
mid-sized
years.
marriage, we'll call it.
Yeah, and I think they had
15 or
was it 2
16 or 7?
kids, 1
I
kid, or
think
2
so,
kids.
1 kid, 2 kid. They were married for a long time, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're never going to split up." Guess again, Hollywood.
Yeah,
And it's like every Hollywood kind of breakup, very fucking bitter.
and this is the infamous Christian Bale losing his shit on set film.
Yes. Yes. By the way, Terminator Salvation, I think it bombed or didn't do as well
It
as
didn't
they
do as well.
expected.
No.
But as goes with Terminator movies beyond Terminator 2,
This is
it's
one
a
of the better ones.
real hit or miss. I prefer Terminator Salvation to Terminator 3.
Terminator 3 was awful.
Yeah. They didn't have whatchamacallit. Edward Furlong didn't come back.
No.
So that's a big problem. Everybody kind of expected him to come back as an older,
Was that
Claire
Claire Danes who played the love
Claire
interest in
Danes
that?
played
Yeah.
his love interest, and the guy, I don't remember the name of the guy. I think he was in the movie Bully. Don't remember the name of the guy.
Yeah.
Terminator Salvation had the dude who played in Avatar. I think it's one after Avatar.
Oh god, yeah, he was also
it's an Australian actor, and they put a lot
was it
on him.
Man
and
on
after,
a Ledge? He was also in Man on a Ledge.
yeah, and he
That-
was also in Clash of the Titans. And after Clash of the Titans, he
Oh,
kind of
and Wrath of the
faded out of
Titans, yeah,
existence.
Sam
Yeah.
Worthington, that's his name.
Yep, that guy. I think after Clash of the Titans was, I think it's 2010.
No, they did a sequel to it.
They did a sequel?
Wrath of the
Ugh.
Titans. Yeah.
That didn't go well, I guess. I never saw it.
Did not.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Gattaca.
I am also going to go with Gattaca because it was
Ooh.
actually a very interesting premise as well.
Yeah, I love the story. I love the whole detective thing that is going on with there, and how they find out it's not really him going on the space.
And
going,
and in the way a lot about how genetic manipulation can work against someone in the future. Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll go back. Yeah, I'm not going to show that screen again. The last kind of bit is this. So they're looking at the whole scene is they're
The
looking
funeral,
at the
like,
funeral,
procession.
the fake funeral.
Yeah.
With
Which I love the fake 303 song that they made.
We're the men of the 303. And that dog that kind of grabs
the dog that walked and he looked back. And
Yeah.
and Conrad goes, and the
Yeah,
dog goes,
and he grabs. He's like he's holding.
and he bites.
The casket.
He bites onto the casket. It's like,
motherfuckers. Yes.
Oh God, you're good. You good.
And then
this is where ultimately,
Stanley looks at the TV, and the TV has that same kind
it's
of
a talk
commercial.
show. No, it's a talk show.
Yeah, and they talking about how the president is going to win it because he's got like 86% approval or whatever. And they're giving credit to those commercials that every so often were in the movie, and every so often Stanley would be annoyed that they're even there. Right.
Yeah. Because he kept saying, like, well, it also, again, never change horses midstream.
Yeah. And he gets annoyed. It's like, I'm going to phone these bitches because they have the number that you said, the 800 number.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to call them and go on screen and I'm going to correct them and say, this is all fucking me.
He said, you can't do that. You can't do that. And he goes, like, well, I don't care. And Breen mentions to him, you're going to get your ambassadorship. You're going to get this. You're gonna, like, I don't care about that. I don't care about the money. I just want the credit because no one can ever know about this.
Yeah. It's like, you're messing with your life here.
Like you do realize when you signed on for this, you knew that no one was ever going to know what we did here. That's the entire point of this, that no one will ever know.
And the thing is, Stanley is like, okay, I'm not gonna call him, but I'm gonna do something.
I'm gonna
And
do
he
something.
storms off, and you see the looks between
And Bree looks at the Secret
Green
Service,
and the Secret
and he's just
Service.
like,
He's
and
like he's scratching his he does the scratching of the beard all the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, he does the little nod, like, oh shit, that's gonna go down. And what happens is they let me set this up there.
he's walking out to
And
his
Secret
car,
Service
and Secret Service
is coming right at
come and
him,
grab him. And
and
then
we
you
all know
hear,
where that leads.
then you hear about the re-election, and then you
Yeah.
hear of the, like, and also beloved Hollywood producer, could be 56 or 58 depending on his biography, which I was like,
And I was like,
"Ah,
oh, that's so.
it's so
You
good.
could have not written that in the movie and just written his age. You just added that small
And
little bit,
extra,
and
just little zhuzh there. It was
that
perfect.
is exactly
perfect.
what we
But like,
expect.
died
of
of a heart
Hollywood.
attack unexpectedly. It's like, you got. I mean,
Yeah. And there's a whole like the whole point is actually Conrad is there at the like memorial or whatever they're gonna do. Supposedly every like Hollywood bigwig is over there, you know, trying to pay condolences. And the last shot of the movie, it's really important because Conrad does mention it. I think at the beginning, it's like, okay, we've got 11 days. We need to do this, blah, 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 blah. And God willing, in 11 days, we'll all be here again for the second term.
yeah.
Right. But once they have that newscast and they're talking about the whole point of everything is over, reelected, and there's a newscast about, oh, we might as well go back to Albania. And that kind of tells you, oh, there's still something going on.
Yeah.
And in your mind is like, yes, there's always something going on in the news because it's covering something else.
Mm-hmm.
And the last shot is this. I love it. That's the ready room. That's the war room. It's like, yeah, it's sort of like you hear in the news that something going on. We're going to go back to Albania to finish the job, just like Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to finish Saddam off, remember? And you have this war room, which is empty, but in your mind, yeah, that's gonna fill up real quick, real soon. And that's the end of the movie. By the way, we haven't mentioned it in the behind the scenes. The guy who's responsible for the music for this movie is Mark Knopfler, the guy from Dire Straits. By the way, American Hero, a good old shoe, and
Courage Mom.
And Courage Mom, all written by Mark Knopfler.
And also the song Wag the Dog that's at the
No.
Sorry.
Wait. All three of those songs were written by Mark Knopfler for the movie, but they were not included in the CD that came out with the soundtrack. This song, the last song, Wag the Dog, is in the soundtrack. But yeah, small little tidbit.
It reminds me a lot of the Blade soundtrack in a lot of ways, where a lot of the techno that was
we mentioned that. You mentioned
the Blade
that
film, where it's like there's a lot of interesting like late 90s techno, and I was into industrial rock and techno at the time, so I'm like, yeah, I really want to buy this soundtrack. And it was like mostly hip hop, and it's like, this wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah,
these 5 songs were not even in the movie at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even sampled.
Yeah. All right, cool. And that kind of brings us to the end. I like I said, I really enjoyed looking stuff into it, researching a little bit more than I usually do. Like I said, with the Mark Knopfler thing, it would kind of pick my interest because I totally forgot he did the, well, to be honest, I didn't even know. Back then, I really didn't really
Oh, yeah.
care. And it came up in the credits, like, because I haven't watched the movie in a long, long time. It came up in the credits. I was like, oh, Mark Knopfler? Oh, let me put that in, like, oh, that little memory box that you put stuff in to remember later. Yeah, that thing. I need to maybe do a little bit of research. Maybe All My Feelings will mention it. You didn't, but doesn't really matter. Yeah, it was really interesting. And the fact that, yeah, you have to realize I said it at the beginning, this movie is a little bit prophetic about things that actually happened
Mhm.
a few months later with the whole Clinton bit. And yeah, it kind of harkens back. And when Barry Levinson was asked about this, he was like, I didn't know, but
But
it seems
it happened.
very interesting.
Yeah.
But a lot of little concepts are actually up to date with everything. It's just different methods of media. You've got the internet to consider, social media, established media, and the
I think
media that is not like the news that is disseminated through basically YouTube. We can call it social media, but not
I think
really.
in many ways, that's why I kind of wish Theron, our guest that was supposed to be on, would have
Yeah.
actually been able to join us, because I think this shows, even now, this seems antiquated to how things probably are run, given just how light speed fast we can disseminate and get information, thanks to
You
the
think
internet
so?
being that wide. Yes, very
You
much
think
so.
it's antiquated? I think it's probably straight to the point, but
I know. I
not
think it's
not
still
in
very head
11
on,
days.
given that
Yeah, not in
market.
11
I'm
days.
just saying, just as the
Maybe
fact
it's
that, like,
shorter.
just how we can just get information so much quicker
Yeah.
compared to that, because that could have been done, because someone could have leaked something that was in the war room, or someone could have gotten access to someone on that war room's Twitter account or something, or gotten to their phone somehow and found out their information and leaked it, or
Just think about the start of the Ukraine-Russian war. Now, I'm not
yeah,
saying it's a fake war, but at the beginning, we got a lot of stuff that later on kind of revealed themselves as to be, oh, that's fucking fake.
yeah,
But we don't know who faked it. Is it
yeah,
Russian propaganda,
yeah.
Ukrainian propaganda, Western propaganda?
Well, that's
We
what
still don't
that's
know. But all we know is like the ghost of Kiev was completely off.
well, no, what I mean is, there is not only the ability to get fact checking on our own, as given just the amount of information that we are just constantly bombarded with, but
Yeah.
also being fed misinformation on the same token as well. Just
Yeah.
given everything you mentioned about the Ukraine war,
Yeah.
it's two sides of the same coin. Where if you're inundated with a constant stream of data, it's impossible to decipher what is real or not for the common layman, and that's why I think this movie is fantastic. But the reason why I said it's antiquated is the fact that it's a lot slower than
Oh,
how it is
yeah. Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Like I said,
Because
the 11 days might be compacted into like 3.
I
Yeah.
would say 2 days,
Yeah.
2 days
It could
with the
be.
way
It
it
could be.
goes.
It could be. Especially when every major player that is behind the scenes, the people you don't know, right? The people who are the Conrad Breens of the world, they exist. They used to be
The
called
spin
the spin
doctors,
doctors.
yeah.
It is literally
It wasn't just a
in the
shitty band
Wikipedia.
from the '90s, everybody.
Yeah. If you want to call me a neighbor, never mind.
Yeah.
We'll leave that
Hey,
alone.
I got a pocket full of kryptonite. Okay, better calm down.
That's a good callback. Anyway, um, there are real spin doctors, but they know how to spin a lot of plates now more than they used to because
Because they
they have
have to.
they have to. Like,
Yeah.
took the words straight out of my mouth. They just have to. They have to play all these different things. They have to have everything. It's like the papers, the television, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, fucking whatever, and everything has to be in line, especially because you have layman people have their phones and cameras taking pictures and taking videos of things that are happening right now and leaked like 5, 10, 15 minutes later. They're already on television, already live newscasts live on YouTube or live somewhere else on a website going, yeah, look at this. Last year, we had the whole fucking trial about something that was shot on the phone or on the ground people. It's like the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. We had that we had basically everything that happened with camera phones and independent journalists that were on the scene that were later on being witnessed at that trial saying exactly that thing, and everything was spun in all different directions. And until today, people still think he shot 3 black people and call him a murderer. Just saying. That spin that was like the first thing you've heard is that thing that you remember. And that kind of spin doctors work on that particular thing. I said at the beginning, just the accusation is that thing that kind of 70% of people remember.
Well, that's what it is. The accusation is guilty until proven innocent.
Yes, exactly.
In the vast majority of situations, yes. That's
all right. Cool.
Unfortunately, that's categorically true.
Sad. It is, but it's like nobody reads the article. Everybody reads the headline, or most people read the headline, and that's what sticks in their mind. And that's why the spin doctors are there. They're working on those headlines. They're working on those initial things that you're working on. All right. Before we end the show, we've got a short little taste of just the whole entire movie. It is called the short version. Let me pull it up.
Okay.
Just good. And there. The short version of Wag the Dog.
Here we go. The short version.
That's him. That's Mr. Fix-It.
That was their M.O. Change the story, change the lead.
What do you think would hold it off, Mr. Moss?
Nothing. I mean, you'd have to have a war.
We want you to produce.
You want me to produce your war? Why are they sticking with this age-old horseshit? Why are they sticking with the same old garbage? Who hires these people?
I mean, I feel insulted just having seen it.
Declaring war, Albania? No, we're not declaring war. We're going to war. We haven't declared war since the Second World War. You can never tell anyone you did this.
What could they do to me?
They'd come home to your house and kill you.
Why, I hate it when they start to meddle.
The world is listening. There is no war.
Of course there's a war. I'm watching it on television. The war of the future is nuclear terrorism. It is, and it'll be against a small group of dissidents who, unbeknownst perhaps to their own governments, have blah, 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 blah.
What does it mean the situation has been resolved?
He just ended the war.
He ended the war? Oh, my God, I can't believe this. What was I thinking? We had a war, we forgot the hero. You can't have a war and not have a hero.
The Lord willing and Jesus tarries, 8 days from now, I'm going to be taking you folks into the second term. Wait till you hear the speech tonight.
Spill out a message in the Morse code, and that message is courage, Mom.
You know, you take the fruit of 40 years, hard lessons, mistakes, and you call it wisdom.
He's in chains, man, because he's a convict.
Oh, a convict! What do we do now, liberal affirmative action shithead, peacenik commie fuck? What do you want to do now?
This is nothing, piece of cake.
Oh, I'll tell you someday when they tell this story.
Oh, you can't tell this story.
Why not?
Somebody had you killed.
Any kind, remember that? Oh, God, he's dead. Wait a minute, he's not dead. He's alive.
What?
You're playing with your life now.
Oh, fuck my life. I want the credit.
It's the best work I've ever done in my life. Because it's so honest.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's a really great line. It's the best work of my life because it's so honest. And it's so dishonest.
Honest. Yeah.
And you're like, what are you talking about, Stanley? Yeah, it's like there are lines. I put it on the short because I love those lines. Change the narrative, uh I fucked it up again. Change the narrative, change the media. That's the thing that's like, oh, you change the narrative and everything kind of spins into the, to the way you want it to go spinning.
Yep.
All right,
Exactly.
cool. That is it for Wag the Dog.
Yeah.
Before we disappear from your screens, please, if you want to interact with the show, please at me on Twitter at Meffistoe or at Meffistoe79 on Instagram. DMs are open. You can write to the show. I'll email us at the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. And next week, going into Thanksgiving, we have a show of all shows, if it actually happens.
It's going to be an interesting one. That's for damn sure.
If our guests, we have two distinguished guests, because Oh My Feelings is going away to celebrate Thanksgiving with his family. I'm going to be here alone.
Celebrate as in being tortured by.
We'll talk about that off screen. Take your prosanium or whatever he took.
Prosalium. Thank you very much.
Prosalium. Maybe just a Valium. Anyway, next week, we want you to go and watch Head of State with Chris Rock and Bernie Mac. Fantastic fucking movie. Another take, a different take on, let's call it the Black voice in America. Mm-hmm. All right. We will have two distinguished guests covering for Oh My Feelings. One of them has been here many times before, Drexel, and the other is Nick Rekieta. Now, I hope they will show up. If they don't, we won't have a show at all. They're both really busy, so that's why I'm saying. So either way, go watch Head of State because it's a wonderful movie. And hopefully we'll see you here next week. And have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving for those who are going to celebrate Thanksgiving. And good night. Have a great weekend.
Take it easy.